Ladies and gentlemen, Crime Prevention Week, now being observed nationally, is designed for one purpose: to emphasize that crime is your personal enemy. It costs money and lives. It weakens the moral and physical strength of your community. Show your respect for the law by cooperating with your police officer 52 weeks a year. Join the fight to stamp out crime, the ally of treason.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to bunco detail. A husband and wife confidence team has shifted operations to your city. Their criminal record dates back 17 years. They're masters in the art of swindling. Your job? Get them. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 20th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of bunco detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain McCauley. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 10:35 a.m. when we got to the Holy Gospel Tabernacle, the pastor's house.
Look at that palm tree.
Yeah.
Windstorm sure didn't do it any good.
Well, it was really blowing last night. Woke me up a couple of times.
Yeah, not me. I slept like a baby. What'd you say the name here was, Olson?
Yeah, got it right here. Reverend Andrew Olson.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem to be anybody at home. I'll try it again.
Mm-hmm.
No?
We said on the phone he'd either be here or at the church.
Where's that?
Just around the corner, faces on South Spring.
Not a very wealthy-looking neighborhood.
It must be the church up there, huh?
Mm-hmm. Sure could stand a coat of paint.
Grounds are well kept, aren't they? Nice flower beds.
Look at that. Giant pansies. Tried some in the backyard last year. Too bad.
What do you mean?
Giant snails. Sliced them right off at the roots.
Guess that must be him up at the front, huh? Better close the door, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Excuse me, sir?
Oh, didn't see you.
You the Reverend Olson?
Yes, can I help you?
My name's Friday, Reverend. I talked to you on the phone.
Oh, yes, Sergeant.
And this is my partner, Sergeant Romero.
How do you do?
Oh, ain't that nice.
Sergeant Merrill?
No, that's Romero, Reverend.
Oh, excuse me, Romero. Didn't expect you so soon. A little busy here fixing the pulpit. It happened last Sunday.
What's that, Reverend?
Guess I got carried away with my sermon. Quite a commotion.
Oh?
I leaned forward in the pulpit. This whole section here just splintered and broke right off. Ruined my whole sermon. Well, I can finish this up later. Have a chair there, officers.
All right,
Thanks very much.
Well, there it is, Sergeant. Their names, descriptions. Mr. and Mrs. Tom Herbert. That's the name they used, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Would you mind briefing us on how it happened, Reverend? When did you first meet this couple?
He came to us a little over a month ago. Didn't have any reason to be suspicious. Mr. Herbert showed me some fine references. I didn't think it was necessary to check them.
What kind of approach did they use? Could you tell us?
Well, the first visit, Mrs. Herbert did most of the talking. She told me she and her husband wanted to write a history of our church. It was supposed to be part of an historical book on all the churches in the county. Naturally, I felt a little flattered about it.
Mm-hmm. Did this Mr. and Ms. Herbert make any demands for money or to write about your church, I mean?
Oh, no. There was no money involved at first. They said all they wanted was our cooperation in doing some of the research work. You know, looking up dates, names, things like that.
Oh, I see.
They seemed very sincere, both of them. Didn't drink, smoke. They worked very hard doing research and writing. I don't know why they had to change. Would have been nice having history written about our church.
Yes, sir. When did they first bring up the idea of money?
Well, Mr. Herbert came to me one day and showed me this letter. It was supposed to be from the people who were going to publish the history of our church. The letter said, well, because of certain business reasons, the whole thing was off. They couldn't publish the book. Mr. Herbert acted very sorry.
Mm-hmm. Did he leave that letter with you, Reverend?
No, he took it with him.
Oh.
I felt badly about the whole thing. They're doing all that work and then the book not being published.
Mm-hmm. Well, did the Herberts broach the idea of you and the church putting up the money to print the book?
Well, no, not exactly, but I guess they gave me the idea.
How do you mean?
They suggested that I talk it over with the church board, so I did. We all agreed it would be a shame to give up the idea of the book after so much work had gone into it.
Is that when you agreed to finance the book?
Well, the board and I did, yes. It's all my fault, though. I helped to persuade them.
And the money came out of church funds, is that it?
As a matter of fact, it didn't. We only have a small operating fund, so you can see we're a small church. Congregation isn't wealthy.
And where'd the money come from, sir?
Well, for one thing, the ladies of the Altar Society put on a Sunday afternoon ham dinner. It made some money, and then the Herberts suggested we help sell advertising to pay part of the cost, so we did that, too. It still wasn't enough.
Well, exactly how much did you turn over to the Herberts?
$804.61. I had to borrow $350 from the bank to make it. It'll all have to be paid back. People who paid for their advertising, too. It'll all have to come out of our pocket. It's a terrible thing.
Yes, sir, it is.
Terrible. I don't know what I'm going to do. Hate to ask the congregation for it. Their offerings have always been so generous, and they're not wealthy either, just working people.
When was the last time that you heard from this Mr. and Ms. Herbert, Reverend?
A week ago, I guess. Yes, it was last Monday. I got anxious and called them at the hotel. It's on South Grand. I can give you the address. They told me when the books would be ready. It said it would be on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last I heard of them.
No forwarding address, no other place that you think we might find them?
No, I'm sorry. Just don't have any idea. It's so hard to believe anyone would do such a thing to us.
Yes, sir. Wonder if we could have the address of their hotel.
Yes, all right. If you'll come with me, I have it over at the house.
Did Mr. and Ms. Herbert have a car, do you know, Reverend?
I don't think so. If they did, I never saw it. I know what I'm going to tell the congregation. $800, that's a lot of money to our people.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, Sergeant. I don't mean to be uncharitable, but Mr. and Mrs. Herbert, do they have a criminal record? Have they done this sort of thing before?
Well, their descriptions seem to fit a couple that we've been looking for. They've been working the churches in this area on and off for a couple of years now.
Can't understand why they do such a thing. It's almost like robbing a poor box.
Yes, sir, they've done that, too. 11:15 a.m. We went back to the city hall and pulled the package on the suspects, Mr. and Mrs. Tom Herbert. They were a veteran man and wife confidence team who'd worked the Los Angeles area and other large cities around the country. Their specialty seemed to be swindling churches and clergymen. Over a period of 17 years, they piled up a long record involving frauds and various bunco games, but they'd only been brought to trial once. The case had been dismissed for lack of sufficient evidence. 11:35 a.m. We took mug shots of Mr. and Mrs. Herbert out to the Reverend Olson, and he identified them. We checked the hotel on South Grand where they'd been staying. No leads. We got out a local broadcast and an APB on them. Together with the sheriff's office, we sent a special bulletin about the Herberts to the pastors of the different churches in the city and county. From the list of names on the mama sheet, We began checking out all the known friends and relatives of the suspects. One of them was a Clyde Harris, proprietor of a physical culture school out in the Wilshire district. 1 p.m. Tuesday. We drove out to talk to him.
Which way, Joe?
Right down the street, the blue and white sign there.
Oh, yeah. Venus School of Physical Culture. I can make you an all-American girl, Clyde Harris, manager. Looks like the office here.
No, we're supposed to meet him in the gym. That's next door.
Oh.
Yeah, here. No, go ahead.
No, yeah.
Back this way, I guess.
All right, now. Once again, please. All together. With me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extend, and hold down. Extend, and hold down. With me, please. 3, 4. Mrs. Allison. Hold down. 1, 2, hold down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then hold down. Hold it a minute. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Collison. You're doing it wrong. Your pelvis is all out of position.
Excuse me, are you Clyde Harris?
Yes, did you want something?
Police officer, Mr. Harris. Like to talk to you?
Oh, yeah, sir. Could you hold on half a minute?
Sure, go right ahead.
Francis, would you take over here for a few minutes? I have to talk to these gentlemen. Ladies, Francis is going to count for you for a while. You go right ahead with the lesson. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Back here, officer.
Won't take too long, will it?
No, sir, just a few minutes. Sorry to interrupt your lesson.
Oh, that's all right. I just don't want to have the ladies thinking I neglect them. They pay good money for these exercises.
Yeah.
Here you are. Have a chair.
Thank you.
You said something about Tom Herbert on the phone, Sergeant. What's it all about?
Well, we understand that you're a friend of the Herberts, Mr. Harris.
Yeah, I knew Tom and Doris a couple of years back. Haven't seen much of them lately.
When was the last time you saw him?
Let's see, must be 2-3 months anyway. Anything wrong?
Well, do you know where we could locate him?
I don't know for sure. Last time I saw them, they were at a hotel downtown in South Grand, I think. Yeah, South Grand, right near Cecil.
You have no idea where they moved when they left there?
No, I didn't even know they'd moved.
They haven't phoned or contacted you at all in the last month or so?
No, not a word. They're not in a jam again, are they?
We'd like to talk to them, that's all. Would you know of any of their favorite spots around town, eating, drinking places?
No, I don't think I could say. They got around quite a bit. You checked with some of their other friends around town, the Cattons, the Thompsons, Mike Runyon?
What was that last one?
Mike Runyon, very good friend of the Herberts.
Ben?
No, I don't recall the name.
Well, how could we get in touch with this Runyon, Mr. Harris?
He's got a phone. Someone in the office will call him if you like.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'll get Mike on the line for you, introduce you.
Would you mind talking to him, Harris? Don't tell him it's for us. Just ask if he knows where the Herberts are. Would you mind?
Yeah, all right. No answer. Maybe. Hello, Mike? Clyde Harris, Mike. Yeah, how are you? Fine. Fine? Yeah, a long time. Say, Mike, you any idea where Tom and Doris Herbert are? Mm-hmm. Is that right? How about that, huh? You don't. No, that's okay. It's not important. Sure thing, Mike. Make it soon, huh? Right. Goodbye.
Yeah?
No, he doesn't know where the Herberts are staying. Saw him a week ago out in Hollywood, though. Says they're doing fine.
How do you mean?
Ran into him outside that big church on Hollywood Boulevard. They told Mike all about it. They really got religion.
That's so.
Yeah, they're even writing a book about the church.
We called back Mike Runyon, the friend of the suspect, and he gave us the location of the church where he'd seen Mr. and Mrs. Herbert. Ben and I drove out there and talked to the pastor, Reverend John Kenworth. We showed him the Herberts mugshots, and he identified them. They were going under the name of Williams, and supposedly they were writing a book about the history of the church. To cover publishing expenses and research, more than $1,000 from parish contributions had been placed in a separate account at a local bank. Reverend Kenworth told us that it was a special joint account, and the Herberts had access to it. Ben got on the phone and called the bank.
How's that? Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Yeah, all right, thank you.
What'd they say?
The two of them were in the bank yesterday. They didn't draw out everything.
How much did they leave?
$3.
Ben and I checked with the teller at the bank and showed him mugshots of Mr. and Ms. Herbert. He identified them as the couple who'd withdrawn the church funds. We went to the hotel address the suspects had given to Reverend Kenworth. They'd checked out 2 days before. The search went on. 2 weeks passed. We ran out of leads. No further reports on the couple. A month went by. Tuesday, May 23rd. We got an APB from San Francisco on a couple answering the Herbert's description. They were still working the church angle. During the next 6 weeks, we got reports on them from Washington, Oregon, Nevada, and Northern California. In Sacramento, they apparently changed their M.O. for the first time. They started selling phony health insurance policies. They promised everything, and they had a lot of takers. One of the big selling points was a clause which promised full protection if anybody in the family should come down with polio. From Sacramento, they headed south to Oakland and then to Fresno. On July 10th, the complaints started to come in, and we knew the Herberts had moved into Los Angeles with their health insurance racket. One of the first victims was a Carl Fogarty. He lived out in the Westlake area.
There's a policy they gave me, Sergeant. Apex Health Insurance. Not worth the paper it's printed on.
When did they sell you this, Mr. Fogarty? You remember?
3 weeks ago, I guess. Never would have known it was phony if my boy hadn't come down with polio.
How's he getting along?
Not too good. Right leg. He's got it bad there. It's not as if we don't have enough grief. We got to lose out on this bone insurance.
You mind if I take a look at that policy, sir?
No. Go ahead. Here you are.
Yeah, same outfit, Joe. Apex Health Insurance. Same phony address.
Yeah. Would you remember the man who sold you this, do you think?
I think I would, yeah.
I wonder if you'd mind looking through these pictures, Mr. Fogarty?
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
Just look at them carefully, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This one. That's him. I remember. Who's he?
His name's Herbert. When he came in to sell you this policy, was he alone?
Yeah, he was. Had a real good sales talk.
How much did you pay for the insurance?
Let's see. $43 and some odd cents. I remember that because I cashed in my war bond, and I took $5 out of the rent money.
Outside of this policy here, you have no other papers that the man might have given you?
No, nothing but this business card here. Mm-hmm. He gave me that. You see here, the same name, Apex Health Insurance.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Fogarty. We hope your little boy goes out of it all right.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, here's our card, sir. If there's anything we can do, give us a call.
Sure, okay.
About time we check the office, huh?
I think so. Do you have a phone here, Mr. Fogarty?
Oh, yes, Sergeant. Straight back in the hall there. Help yourself.
Thank you very much. $2572. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Fred. Joe Friday. Anything for us in the book? Mm-hmm. West 7th. Yeah, okay. Right. Thanks, Fred.
Anything doing?
It looks pretty good. Office got a call from a printing shop out on West 7th. The manager's got an order he's not too sure about.
How do you mean?
It's for a batch of letterhead stationery, business cards.
Yeah? For who?
Apex Health Insurance.
You are listening to Dragnet for the step-by-step solution to tonight's authentic case history.
Here, step by step, are the actual reasons why Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette. Why in Fatima the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes. What your first puff will tell you.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Thursday, July 10th, 4 p.m. Ben and I drove back downtown to the printing shop on West 7th Street and talked with the manager. He told us that the order for stationery and business cards for the Apex Health Insurance Company had been placed 2 days before. He said he'd become suspicious after reading a story in one of the newspapers about the polio insurance fraud. He also said that the customer who'd ordered the stuff was a woman. She told him that she would call and pick up the order on Friday. We showed the manager a handful of mug shots. He could give us only a partial identification of Mrs. Herbert's picture. We called the office, told them we were going on stakeouts, and arranged for a release. Ben and I spent the rest of Wednesday and all day Thursday and Friday in the rear of the print shop where we could keep an eye on everyone entering the place. Friday, 6 p.m. No sign of the Herberts. Not a trace. Saturday, the same. No sign of either one of them. Monday, more waiting. The suspect stayed away. Tuesday, 3:30 p.m. I went out the rear door, went down the street and got some cigarettes, and then I headed back for the print shop. Ben?
Keep your coat on, Joe. Just called the office for a release.
Why, what's doing?
That Clyde Harris, friend of the Herberts, guy who runs the physical culture school.
Yeah, what about him?
He called the office, wanted to talk to us. I phoned him out there at the gym.
Yeah?
He told me he was out drinking last night, and he met Mrs. Herbert at a bar. She was alone.
Did he tell you where to find her?
The Greenwood apartment, 603.
When the relief men arrived, Ben and I left and drove across town to the Greenwood apartments on Taylor Street. It was a 3-story frame building set back from the sidewalk behind a sloping lawn lined with a box hedge. We checked the names on the mailboxes. The name T.J. Bronson was listed for apartment 603. We rang, but there was no answer.
Better try the manager, huh?
Yeah.
It's a nice place. Insurance racket must be paying off for him.
Here we go.
Yeah? Can I help you?
Yes, are you the manager here?
That's right. Thatcher's my name. Can I help you?
Police officers, Mr. Thatcher. We're trying to locate the people in 603.
Oh, that crazy woman tried to blow up the place last night.
Why, what do you mean?
Mrs. Bronson, she came in drunk about 2 a.m. No sense at all. About 3 a.m., the folks in 601 called me and they said they smelled gas. I went up there and found her in the kitchenette. Out like a light gas stove turned on, going full blast. Crazy.
Where's her husband?
Couldn't say, chasing around again, I think. Hadn't been home in a week. Lucky I got to that gas before somebody lit a match.
You say it happened about 3 this morning?
That's right, crazy woman. She'll be all right, too.
Where's she now, do you know?
Yeah, County Hospital.
4:25 p.m. Ben and I got in touch with the office and arranged for a stakeout at the Herberts apartment. We called homicide and checked on the attempt suicide report. They informed us that the woman had been taken to the psycho ward, County Hospital. We went over to the hospital, checked at the main desk, and identified ourselves. The nurse on duty had us shown to the ward where the suspect, Doris Herbert, was confined. She was a halfway attractive woman in her late 40s. Short, bleach blonde hair, dark eyes with deep circles under them. She turned and looked up as we stopped beside her bed.
Excuse me. You Doris Herbert?
Is
Is your name Doris Herbert?
Who do you want?
Police officers would like to talk to you for a minute.
I knew you'd be around. I don't care.
Ma'am?
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the whole rotten thing. I knew you'd come.
We just have a few questions, ma'am. It won't take long.
Go ahead. I don't care. Did you find him yet?
You mean your husband?
He's not my husband. Not anymore. Him and that cheap girl behind my back sneaking around. 20 years we've been happy, and he throws me away.
Where's your husband now, Miss Herbert?
With her. He's been with her a week. He doesn't even care I'm here. 20 years ago, he cared. I found him, taught him something. I taught him everything he knows.
This girl that your husband's with, where does she stay, do you know?
Yeah, an apartment. It's on Franklin, right on the corner of Franklin and Laurel. You were close, weren't you? You knew it was us.
What's this girl's name?
Marie Daly. I saw her with him. Tell me something.
Yeah.
You know it was us, Tom and me, the insurance?
Yeah, we knew it was you.
I didn't like it. It wasn't a clean game. Tom's idea. He made money, but I didn't like it. It wasn't clean.
All right, Miss Herbert, we'll talk to you later.
No, not me. I'm going to die. I'm going to die and forget all about it. You just be sure and get him, won't you, Tom? I tell him everything he knows. Get him.
You're sure about the address?
Yeah, I'm sure. Tell me something. Why do you have to do it to me? Throwing me away, lying, taking that cheap girl. Why'd you do it to me?
Well, you ought to have an idea.
Huh?
You taught him everything he knows. Before we left the hospital, we made arrangements to have Doris Herbert transferred to the prison ward. 5 p.m. We drove out to the apartment house at Franklin and Laurel and checked with the landlady. She told us that Tom Herbert's girlfriend, Marie Daly, had checked out of her apartment the day before. She said the Daly girl had a middle-aged man with her. We showed the landlady Herbert's mugshot, and she identified him as that man. She had no forwarding address on her, but she did remember the name of the express truck that called to pick up the Daly girl's baggage. We checked with the express company and found that the trunks had been taken to the Lockheed Air Terminal. We started calling the airlines. 6:30 p.m. We finally got a report that a man answering Tom Herbert's description had booked passage for 2 on a flight to Mexico City. The plane was scheduled to leave at 8:35 that night. Ben and I drove out to the airport and went on stakeout. 8:15 p.m. We waited. 8:20. No sign of them.
United Airlines mainliner flight 649 from Denver and intermediate cities. Now,
getting a little late, huh? Yeah, it's 8:24. They're cutting it close.
Going in the bar, Joe. Take a look.
Yeah, that's them. Let's go.
Not hard to spot. What's the matter with the girl?
Looks pretty drunk. All right, come on.
Bourbon and water, huh, Marie? Is that what you want?
Why, yeah.
Haven't got much time. We don't want to miss that plane.
We won't miss it.
You Tom Herbert?
Yes, what is it?
Police officers like to talk to you downtown.
Just a minute. This must be some kind of mistake.
No mistake, Herbert. We talked to your wife. Let's go.
Where's it, Tom? What do they want?
Nothing. It's a mistake. Now, look, officers, I don't know what this is all about, but we have to get a plane. The 8:35. I can't go downtown with you. Can't we talk it over here? I'm sure we can straighten this out.
Your wife copped out, Herbert. Now let's make it easy, huh?
Come on, lady.
What's he talking about, Tom? A wife? What does he mean?
I told you it's a mistake. Now, be reasonable, huh, officer? All we want to do is take a trip. We've been planning on this. New clothes, new luggage.
Here's your hat. Our car's outside.
It's a mistake. You can't do this. We planned on it. We've been waiting a long time for this.
Yes, sir. So have we. Come on, let's go.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, each week we're honored with letters from listeners all over the country. Letters telling us that you've bought Fatimas and you find them the best of all long cigarettes. Well, thanks to you and the many thousands of other smokers who have switched to Fatimas, I'm happy to report that more people are now enjoying Fatimas than ever before. January sales figures just released show that in the East, Fatima sales are up 56%. In the Middle West, sales up 133%. And here on the coast, Fatima shows an increase of 68%. Well, that means Fatima sales are up nearly 70% all over the country. Now, if you haven't yet discovered Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma, I suggest that you buy a pack tomorrow. When you do, I'm convinced you'll agree with Fatima smokers everywhere. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Mr. and Mrs. Tom Herbert were tried and convicted on several counts of grand theft. They are now confined in the state penitentiary for the term prescribed by law. Grand theft is punishable by confinement for not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
David Harding, Counter Spy, solves an exciting case next on NBC.
Detective Sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A lone bandit robbed documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It's Tuesday, December 2nd. It's chilly in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch at a robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Gideon. My name's Friday. It was 1:48 p.m. when I got to the basement of the city hall. The car came.
Joe, over here.
Yeah, right.
Hi, Joe. This from Dudley, is that right?
Yeah. Better take Beverly Boulevard out, huh?
Right. Want to get the radio?
Yeah, all right.
No report yet?
No, he got away on foot. He headed down 6th Street after the holdup, lost himself in the crowd. Better watch it there.
Yeah. How'd the thief work it? Did you get the store?
There was not much to tell. He walked in the store at the right time, pointed a gun, grabbed a tray full of diamond rings, and walked out. $5,000. Figured he must have had the jewelry store pretty well cased.
Sounds like he's had practice.
Well, it could be. But sure, one thing, he's well armed.
Attention all units, all units. At 3rd and Victor. 3rd and Victor.
You get it up, huh?
Yeah.
Man with a gun. All units at 3rd and Victor. A traffic accident. A man with a gun. Code green. AMH 67.
Well, if we can roll on it, huh?
Right, that's big to get to him.
Yeah, I'll call him. 80K to control 1. 80K to control 1.
Control 1 to 80K. Go ahead.
80K out for investigation. 3rd and Victor. AMH 67.
Roger 80K. Code 6 to 3rd and Victor. AMH 67.
That must be it up ahead, Joe.
Yeah. Right in the middle of the intersection there, the car turned over, huh?
Let's ought to do it?
Yeah, let's go.
Man is stretched out on the street over there, he said.
Yeah, I wonder if we can get through here, please.
Excuse me, please.
Let us through, please.
Well, let's don't just stand around looking. Did somebody call the police yet? Excuse me.
You involved in this?
Sure, I was in it.
Did anybody call the police?
We're police officers. What happened? Oh, I'm sure glad to see you. Awful lot of trouble.
Yeah. How about this man here? What happened?
Oh, I slugged him. I had to. What do you mean? Well, I don't know what happened. He went a little crazy, I guess. He pulled this gun on me. How is he, Joe?
Well, he got a bump on the head. He seems to be all right otherwise. What's your name, sir?
Ernie Brooks. That truck over there, that's what I was driving. I was coming down 3rd Street, and I stopped at the red light over there. That corner over there?
Yeah.
And when the light turned green, I started across the intersection. This guy laying here came barreling down Bixel, went right through the red light, hit the front of my truck. Flipped his car right over on the side, just like a shoot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the guy went a little crazy, I guess. Right after the crack-up, I pulled the truck to the curb and got out. This fella here was just climbing out of the top side of his car. Didn't seem hurt at all.
Yeah, huh?
Well, when he saw me coming over to him, he pulled a gun and pointed it at me. Then he turned and started running. I couldn't figure it out. What'd you do? Well, as soon as he turned his back to him, I went for him and tackled him. Fought like a tiger. That's why I say I slugged him. I had to, officer. There's something awful funny about the whole thing.
What do you mean by that?
Well, look here. There's spots right here. It fell out of his coat when I slugged him. You take a look. Yeah? Here. Must be 3-4 dozen in there. Rings, all kinds. Yeah. Looks like diamonds in them, doesn't it?
The ambulance arrived, and we took the unconscious fuel robbery suspect to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. After he was revived and treated for cuts and bruises, we took him back to the city hall at the interrogation room. He fitted the description of the jewelry store bandit almost exactly. He refused to talk. He wouldn't even give us his name. We had his fingerprints taken, and then we had them checked through R&I. The man was identified as Vernon Albert Nicole, an ex-convict out of Folsom and a 2-time loser. He served 1 5-year term for armed robbery and another 3 years for ADW. We checked out the wrecked car he'd been driving and found out that it had been stolen 2 blocks from the scene of the holdup. We had the manager of the jewelry store which had been robbed brought downtown. He identified Nicole as the bandit. The suspect still refused to talk. Ben and I took him to the main jail, where he was booked on suspicion of 211 PC. 4:15 p.m. We checked back in at the office.
Takes some of them a long time to learn.
Yeah, 2-time loser. This one ought to finish him.
I can't figure. He's been out of Folsom 7 months and going right back in again.
Well, we can get the complaint from the DA tomorrow and set the arraignment for Thursday.
Yeah. Maybe check with the manager of the jewelry store first. Wonder if Nicole could have been in one of those gas station holdups, remember? Last month?
Yeah. Well, we'll have them in the show up Thursday and see what happens. You want to take care of the arrest report?
Yeah, I'll get out an APB, too. Might turn up some outside jobs on him. I'm feeling hungry. You still got that candy bar from lunch?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, here you go. What's the matter with you lately, anyway?
I don't know. Been eating like a horse, staring at time.
Outside. I'll get it.
What do you got, Joe?
No. Well, that does it. What? Nicole, he escaped. A broadcast and an all-points bulletin were gotten out on Vernon Nicole. All units in the vicinity of the escape were alerted. An hour passed. There was no report on the suspect. We checked with the main jail and got the details on the escape. They told us that while Nicole was being locked up in his cell, he pushed his fingers into the door jamb and had them badly mashed when the cell door closed on them. Both of Nicole's wrists were then handcuffed, and along with 2 other ailing suspects, he was taken over to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital by a pair of transportation officers. Going up the stairs to the hospital, Nicole had turned suddenly, kicked one of the officers in the stomach, slugged the other one, and escaped. It happened at about 4:14 p.m. By 11 o'clock that night, there wasn't a trace of the suspect. 7:30 the next morning, Ben and I checked back in for work. Nicole was still at large.
Overnight report, Joe. Have a look.
What do you got?
Yeah. Liquor store. Gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Another liquor store. All 3 of them held up between midnight and 2 a.m. Take a look at the bank description.
WMA, 5 feet 950 pounds. Medium build, dark wages, hairy dark eyes, fair complexion, deep scar on chin.
How about?
Well, he didn't waste time getting started again, did he?
A pretty big come down if it's Nicole. Diamond theft to liquor store.
Well, he had to do something. He didn't have any clothes, no money. How about that car he used on those jobs?
Stolen. He covered early this morning. They're going over to print.
So now, Joe?
Gibby?
Got on this one right away, will you? Just have to call a minute ago. What's that? Here's the name, address. Matthew Hobbs. He runs a candy store near one of the grade schools over in Boyle Heights. He might be able to tell you something. Yeah, about what? Nicole. Saw him last night. We got in the car and drove over to the Boyle Heights district where we located Matthew Hobbs' place of business. It was a small store on Delray Avenue, 1 block from the neighborhood grammar school. The sign out in front read, New Geneva Candy Parlor and Variety Store. There was the usual display in the window. A wind-up train, a few inexpensive dolls, pencils, writing tablets, and some crepe paper. Inside, the main attraction was 2 long showcases filled with a variety of penny candies. There was a small soda fountain at the rear of the store, topped with a slab of worn marble. Matthew Hobbs was a small, thin man. He looked to be in his mid-60s. He sat behind one of the counters filling cellophane bags with Christmas candy while he talked to us. We asked him about Nicole.
Yes, that's right. Vernon was here last night. About 10 o'clock, 10:15, no later. You want me to help him? Did you know Nicole that well, Mr. Hobbs? As well as I know most of the kids that grew up around here. Yes, I guess I knew him well.
Well, what did he ask for in the way of help?
His money, clothes. He got no family left. I guess I was the only one he thought to come to.
Mm-hmm. Well, how is it that you didn't notify us sooner, Mr. Hobbs?
I knew you'd ask. I'd like to explain if I could.
Yes, sir, please.
Could you hand me that stack of bags there, Sergeant?
Yeah.
Yes? No, the number 2. Yeah, those, yeah.
All right, here you are.
Thank you. As I said, he knocked on my back door about 10 o'clock, and I let him in. Acted just like an animal. Some kind of crazy animal.
Did he have handcuffs on?
Yeah, but the chain connecting him was broken. It made me file off each handcuff.
Yeah?
I wouldn't do it at first. I had no idea what was going on. He said he'd kill me if I didn't help him. He kept threatening me. I never saw Vernon like that before.
Go on, please.
You know, Sergeant, I knew that boy when he was in grammar school right up the street there. Makes you sit down and think sometimes, huh? Where they grow up and change.
Yes, sir. Well, what happened after you took the cuffs off of him?
And he got out of his jail clothes and put on one of my suits. Took what I had in my wallet, $12, and then he kept running around and he found my gun. He took that with him, too.
Well, didn't you think of calling for help?
Not the way he acted, Sergeant. Just like a crazy animal. And he'd have killed me if I'd have tried anything. He warned me not to tell anybody he was here. Said said he'd come back and kill me if I did. Well, I waited till this morning and I called the police.
You said McCauley took a gun from you, Mr. Adams. What kind of a gun was it?
32 automatic, Colt. I've had it for years. I have it registered with you people. He took just what he pleased, clothes, guns, money. If you want the truth, Sergeant, I just wasn't brave enough to try to stop him.
Well, when McCauley left here, did you notice if he had a car?
No, he left on foot. Walked across the street and went down that way, towards town. I don't know. I don't suppose you'll get too far. I hope not.
Do you have any idea who he might try to contact? Some of his old friends, his relatives?
No, he doesn't have any folks I know of. Terrible thing, isn't it? Kids growing up. Well, the way they change, like McCauley. I can understand them when they're kids. Seen hundreds of them come through here. Know what they're thinking, how they feel. Kind of a hobby. I understand kids. Yes, the trouble is they grow up. All of a sudden they stop being kids. Yes, I don't understand them after that.
After we left the candy store, we went back to the office and got out a supplementary APB containing a description of the suspect's clothing and the gun that he'd stolen. Together with Gonzalez and Pena from robbery, Ben and I checked all of McCauley's known friends and his usual hangouts. Stakeouts were placed. We got nowhere. The late evening holdups continued. Each of the victims identified McCauley as the bandit. He used the same M.O. in each case. They worked only on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. He'd steal a car, pull 3 holdups in the same general area within an hour, abandon the car in the same area, and then disappear. 2 weeks passed, and then a month. The weekend robberies went on. In the most recent holdup victims, we found out that McCauley had picked up a partner. We checked the man's description through his staff's office. Each of the stolen cars used by the suspects and then abandoned were checked for prints. We failed to identify the second man. The holdups continued. McCauley and his partner were still at large. Monday, January 26th, 8:30 a.m. Ben and I met with Captain Didion.
What's the count, Skipper? The usual. 3 holdups Friday, 3 Saturday, 3 Sunday. He's proved his point. He's consistent. Now, when do you blow the whistle on him?
We're doing everything that can be done. Stakeouts, extra units on duty.
Not enough. The corner pocket wants some results. They want them fast.
How about the times listed for the 3 stick-ups last night? Have they been double-checked?
No, correct. There's something else for you. Figure it out.
What is it, Joe? Oh, let's see. The drugstore out in West Hollywood robbed at 11:14 p.m.
Yeah?
All right, now this one. Coffee shop out in the valley. Robbed at 11:21 p.m. Both of them the same M.O., same everything.
Well, it doesn't figure. They couldn't have made it from the spot in West Hollywood out to the valley in 7 minutes. It's not possible. There's a report. Check it. I know, but how could they do it?
There must be some way to work out the answer. There's got to be.
I can give you a shortcut.
Yeah?
McCauley, find him.
Another 2 weeks passed, and then 2 weeks more. Besides the extra men and units put in service on weekends, 2 dozen separate stakeouts were established in areas where we figured McCauley and his accomplice would strike. Didn't help much. The holdups continued. There was only one difference. The description of the bandit didn't jive anymore. We still didn't have an answer to the superhuman speed that the 2 gunmen seemed to show in robbing victims at widely separated points, all within a short period of time. We stayed on it. Friday, February 21st. Ben and I took our turn on night stakeout in a vacant store on Sunset Boulevard. We were assigned to cover a drugstore and a bar directly across the street. We spent 2 weekends on the job. It was quiet. Nothing happened. The third weekend was no different.
One thing's for sure. We never have any luck taking stakeout.
No, we didn't.
This empty store must be the draftiest place in town.
Well, no, we've had worse. What time we got?
5 past midnight. That little band over in the bar sure earn their money, don't they?
Allowed anyway. Here, Ben. Have a look. Getting out of that car down the street there, see?
Oh, yeah, they're heading for the bar. What do you think?
Both got dark here. About the same bill.
Sounds like they're in a hurry. We're going in the bar.
Oh, come on. Come on, we better hurry. That's it. Come on. All right, throw down the gun. Look out. All right, hold it. Throw down your gun.
Now, come on, hands behind your head. Take them. Watch it.
All right, hold it right there. Come on, on your feet. You all right, Ben?
Yeah. You had a good point. I like both of them. That wraps it up, huh?
Well, you better look again. Huh? Neither one of them, Nicole.
You are listening to Dragnet, a series of authentic case histories documented from official files.
Many of our corporate customers are worried about employees going wild purchasing office supplies. StaplesLink.com allows them to set up workflow approvals and gives them more control over purchases. StaplesLink.com and IBM are bringing office supplies and office management together. I'm Anne Marie Keene of StaplesLink.com, Vice President of Business-to-Business e-commerce. Staples Link took a great idea, a giant step forward. Staples revolutionized the office supply industry with the superstore.
Saturday, February 22nd. Ben and I took the two robbery suspects downtown to the city hall to the interrogation room. We checked them through R&I and found that they both had records for burglary and grand theft auto. The car that they'd been using that night had been stolen. After 2.5 hours of interrogation, one of the suspects, a Pete Albanese, decided to break down and cooperate. 1 a.m., the interrogation room.
I get something out of it, don't I? Helping you. You know, don't forget I helped you when you get me in court. We'll see if they know about it, Pete. And be making our report. Now, what's your story? I knew I never should have went for it. Believe me, it won't happen again. McCauley, he talked me into it.
Talked into what, Pete?
Helping him on those pickups. I was his partner in his first one.
After he broke through?
Yeah, that's right. He came to me with a foolproof system of his, and I was sucker enough to go for it.
How long did you work with him?
Just a couple of weekends. 3, 4, maybe. I didn't get along with him. No, nobody gets along with him. He's a little crazy, I think.
Who's working with him now?
Oh, I don't know. He's had 2, 3 different guys. I don't know who's with him. Say, Sergeant, can I have a drink of water, please?
All right, I'll get you something.
How about the way Nicole works? 3 or 4 robberies a night all over town. A lot of guys working, that's all.
So they all think of the same way, huh?
Yeah, sure. When I left them, I went on my own and picked up a partner and used their system. Pretty good one, huh? Well, it looked like a good one, anyway.
You mean working on the weekends, picking up a hot car, dropping it fast?
Yeah, you got it. There must be half a dozen guys in this town working the system. They all got it from Nicole. He taught it to them.
Where do we find him, Pete, you know?
Nicole? No, not for sure. He's got figures, you know. He doesn't live there in town. He only comes up for the weekends, works Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then he takes off again.
Takes off for what?
Went down by the border someplace, Palm City, Tijuana, I'm not sure. You know, don't forget I'm helping you, huh? We'll let him know I cooperated.
Yeah, we'll let him know, Pete. Now, when's the last time you saw Nicole, huh?
Oh, it's been a month anyway. I never want to see him again. So this may help you, though. I know where his girlfriend stays.
Yeah?
The problem on South Rampart, I can give you the address. You probably go see her once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else you can think of?
No, that's about it. There won't be any pushover, Sergeant. Like I said, I think he's a little crazy. It's not going to be an easy one to take.
Well, we'll give it a try.
Oh, I mean it that way. He's wild, but you'll get him, I guess. Just one thing.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell him first.
3:45 a.m. Pete Albanese and his accomplice were booked at the main jail on suspicion 211 PC. The next morning, Ben and I checked out the address of Nicole's girlfriend, which Albanese had given us. The girlfriend's name was Esther Rivard. She told us that she hadn't seen Nicole in more than 2 weeks. We asked her if she knew where the suspect stayed when he was in town. She gave us an address on South Pico. We called in and arranged for a stakeout on the girl's place, and we drove over to check the address that she'd given us. It was a small apartment court on the edge of the industrial district. Nicole wasn't there, neither was the manager. We talked to one of the tenants who told us that the manager, Mrs. Clara Fontaine, was out of town. He said that while she was gone, her daughter Norma was looking after the place. The daughter was employed as a secretary at the Blue Cross Hospital Plan office over on Wilshire Boulevard. We called the office and arranged for another stakeout at the apartment court. 1:25 p.m. We located the landlady's daughter at the Blue Cross office on Wilshire. We showed her Nicole's mugshot.
Yes, it's one of Mama's tenants, Mr. Reynolds. He's in bungalow 5.
Anyone staying with him, Miss Fontaine?
No one's registered with him, no. He has visitors, though. Is something wrong?
Well, when did you see this man last?
This morning. When I was leaving for work, he was outside working on his car. Would you excuse me, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Blue Cross? Yes, sir? I see. No, just address the letter to Blue Cross Hospital Plan. You can send it to us here at the Wiltshire office. That's right. Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry. What was I going to say?
You told us that you saw this man working on his car this morning.
Oh, yes, he was parked right outside in front. I couldn't very well miss it. I'm going to tell Mama about it when she gets home.
What's that, Miss?
It was certainly strange because it's not that time of year. That's why I noticed it.
What's that?
He was changing the license plate on his car.
Did you get the numbers?
It's right here in my purse.
1:32 p.m. With the information furnished us by the girl, Ben got on the phone and called in a description of the suspect's car, together with the 2 sets of license numbers. With a 1941 Ford sedan, dark blue, white sidewall tires. Communications got out a broadcast and a supplementary APB on it. At 6 p.m., Ben and I relieved the men on a stakeout at Nicoli's apartment. We waited. No sign of him. We checked with the office on the hour. No sign of the car. 10 p.m. Still nothing doing. 11 o'clock. Nothing. Gonzalez and Pena from robbery drove out and relieved us, and we headed back to the office. 11:26 p.m.
What do you figure?
I don't know. It's plugged every hole I can think of. Things due for a break, isn't it?
Overdue. I could use some sleep.
Wait a minute. Right. Yeah, right away.
Skipper?
Hi, here's one to move on.
Yeah?
Carlson Beacon, southeast corner.
What is it?
Nicoli's car, they got it spotted. 11:56 p.m. Ben and I drove to the vicinity of 12th and Beacon, where we checked with the men in Unit 80K who'd spotted the car. They'd gotten out a code 5 on it. The description matched perfectly. A 1941 Ford sedan, dark blue, white sidewall tires. The license number was one of those given us by the apartment manager's daughter that afternoon. Together with the 2 men in 86K, we staked out on the suspect's car at a distance. It was parked almost exactly in the middle of the block. About 20 feet behind it, a red and white delivery truck was parked. The street was fairly deserted. The only place of business open was a small corner bar at the far end of the block. 12:30. 1 a.m. No one came near the dark blue sedan. We waited. 2 a.m. The corner bar closed up. A man came out, got in the red and white delivery truck, and drove off. 2:30 a.m. The dark blue sedan was still sitting there. We kept waiting.
Roger 13 hour, code 7.
Well, one way or the other, I wish he'd make up his mind.
It's a long way.
Closed in here and it wasn't that vacant store. Better check and see if you're clear.
Yeah, all right, I'll do it. 80K to control 1. 80K to control 1.
Control 1 to 80K. Go ahead.
80K to control 1. We clear.
Control 1 to 80K. Stand by.
Oh, you on smoke?
I'm out. You too?
Yeah. I guess we do without.
Yeah.
Control 1 to 80K. Control 1 to 80K. You're cleared. Code 1, KMA 367.
80K to control 1. Roger. KMA 367.
Hey, have a look, Joe. Just turn the corner.
Where?
Far end of the block, opposite side. Heading up this way.
Yeah. You make out 2 of them there?
Mm-hmm.
The 2?
They're passing by the sedan. No, they're...
They're getting in, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Spotted us, Joe. They're getting out.
All right, hold it there, both of you. Sit down, Joe. Give it up, Nicoli. Behind that car.
All right, hold it. Don't shoot, Joe.
Throw out your gun, both of you.
Harry, don't shoot. Throw out your gun. They'll kill him. Give it up, Harry. They'll kill him.
Come on, throw him out.
Don't shoot. Here's my gun. Don't shoot.
One of them.
Come on, Harry. They got us. Give it up.
That's 2. Let's go.
Yeah, careful.
Here's a gun. Don't shoot. I got my hands up.
All right, keep them up.
Okay, I will. Just don't shoot. I didn't use my gun. Harry did. I tried to tell him you heard me. You heard me. You heard me say not to shoot. Check my gun. I didn't shoot at you.
Come on. Get him out in front of him. I get you.
All right. Come on, officer. 3rd time for me.
All right, save it.
Okay, Joe, you ready?
Let's go.
Please, huh? Give me a break.
You picked the wrong time to cry, mister.
Please, huh? This is the 3rd time for me. I'm no good in that.
You had your chances. You kicked them away.
Let's make a deal, huh? I'm no good in jail. No good at all.
You're no better out here. Let's go.
April 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Now... Vernon Nicoli and his accomplices were tried and convicted on several counts of first-degree robbery. They received sentences as prescribed by law and are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. First-degree robbery is punishable by a prison term of not less than 5 years, with a maximum life term.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Red Cross has been asked by your government to help the nation mobilize for defense. You can help by giving generously to the Red Cross.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima...
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. It's New Year's Eve in your city, and you're on special duty. Thousands of people crowd downtown streets. One of them is a killer. Your job, find them.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was New Year's Eve. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide, special duty. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from dinner, and it was 8:35 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Joe?
Hi, Barney.
How is it outside?
It's cold. Not keeping people at home, though. Did you check the crowds?
Yeah. Been watching it from the window here. Seems bigger than last New Year's. Crazy.
You're on with Ben and me tonight, is that right?
Uh-huh. Thought I was going to have it off. Wife had a little house party planned and everything.
Well, that's too bad. Maybe next time, huh?
Yeah, that's what I said last New Year's. Nah, guess we better start moving.
Yeah, where's Ben?
He went down the hall a minute, said he'd be right back. I better take my top coat, huh?
Yeah, I would if I were you. Nothing for us in the book, is there, Barney?
I almost forgot Jack Conley called, having a little party out at his house. Wants you, Romero, to drop around when you get off. Said he'd call back.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. You about ready?
Yeah, let me grab my overcoat.
All right.
I just tagged back communications. Switchboard's lit up like a Christmas tree during a Miller bid.
Just like last year, they're starting off strong.
415s, 507, calls coming in with a dozen. I'd like to see it just once. People celebrating New Year's without tearing up half the town.
I get it. Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Jack. Yeah, well, Barney just mentioned it. Well, we'll try and make it. You know how things are tonight. Yeah, we'll try, sure. Thanks a lot. There's Jack Conley, Ben, on his way home. He wants us to drop by his place if we get off early tonight.
Not much chance of that. You ready?
Yeah, I am. You, Barney? Let's go.
Guess you can't tell. You might get a break.
The
crowds are starting in pretty early. Good chance they'll break and go home right after midnight. That should get us off early.
And that was the idea last year, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah.
What time did you get off?
6 a.m. Together with Sergeant Barney Luchak, Ben and I left the city hall and started to cruise to the southern end of the central area. As any police officer can tell you, New Year's Eve for him is one of the hardest working nights in the year. This one was no different for us. Within an hour, we'd had more than a half a dozen calls to check out. Street fights, drunken driving, disturbing the peace. The usual complaints that you'd expect to get when a community of 3 million celebrates New Year's Eve. 9:43 p.m. We were cruising in the area of Alameda and Macy Street.
Unit 72R at Wilshire in Geneva, 311. 311, KMA 367. Roger, 72R. Unit 112 at 83 Naylor Avenue. See the man. Keep the peace. KMA 367.
No stopping him, huh?
Oh, it's a big night. Smoke, Joe?
No, thanks.
Attention all units. All units in the vicinity at East Main and Darwin. An officer needs help.
That looks like we got one, huh?
Yeah.
All units in the vicinity at East Main and Darwin. An officer needs help. KMA 367.
I guess we better handle it, huh?
All right. Next one to the left, Ben. We can go out Darwin.
Well, I better call him. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
What's the matter?
Well, I guess they're busy. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
Stand by 80K. Attention all units. All units in the vicinity. The call to East Main and Darwin is now a shooting.
I guess you better push it, Ben.
Yep. Got it down to the floor.
All units in the vicinity. The call to East Main and Darwin is now a shooting. The call is now code 3, KMA 367.
That's it coming up, Ben. East Main.
Yeah.
There's a crowd there on the corner. I guess you better pull up here, huh? All right. Come on. Yeah.
Over by the light pole, Ben. Joe, man lying on the sidewalk.
You want to check the crowd, Barney?
Yeah, okay.
Let us through here, please.
Can we get through?
Excuse me? Look, will you please get back? Move back, please.
All right, come on. I wonder if you just move along.
Just move along, man.
Move along.
That's
Give us
right.
a little room to work. Thank you. Ben,
Yeah, Joe?
have a look here.
Hmm? No.
There's Jack Connolly.
That?
He's dead. His full name was John Patrick Connolly, serial number 367. He was one of the veteran officers in Central Homicide. He lay face down on the pavement, one of his legs straddling the curbstone. He'd been shot twice at the base of his skull. There were 4 more bullet wounds in his back. Ben got to a phone, called Homicide, and told them what had happened. 24 cruiser cars and more than 100 men were immediately dispatched to the scene of the killing. They circled the area for a dozen blocks around and started a door-to-door search for the killer. Suspicious-looking pedestrians were stopped at every street corner and questioned. 10:30 p.m. The ambulance arrived and Jack Connolly's body was taken to the morgue. Along with Thaxter and Bryan from Homicide, Barney Luchek, Ben, and I continued checking in the immediate vicinity of the killing. We found no one who'd admit that they actually saw the shooting. Half a dozen people in the crowd told us that they heard the shots and they saw Connolly fall to the pavement. They'd also seen a man standing behind Connolly turn and run down the street right after the shooting. No one had followed him. The man was described as medium build, wearing a dark suit and a dark hat. That's all they could tell us. 11:25 p.m. Ben and I met Barney Luchek back at the car.
Morning. Did you get anything?
Checked out every store in the neighborhood that's open. Not much. How about you?
No, it's the same. Pretty thin.
Bryan and Thaxter turned up a newsboy down the street. He told him he saw the guy in the dark suit running down the street.
Yeah.
Thought he saw the guy come out of this bar here.
We heard that too, Barney. We talked to the bartender. He doesn't recall the man.
Oh, say, I almost forgot. I checked with the office. Mrs. Connolly's been calling in. Wants to know where her husband is.
Oh, yeah.
I asked personnel to hold off notifying her. Thought maybe you fellas would want to tell her. You knew Connolly pretty well, didn't you?
Yeah, a long time.
Family man?
3 kids.
If you fellas don't want to tell her, I'll call personnel back. They can do it.
No, it's all right. We'll tell her. 11:40 p.m. Ben and I got in the car and headed out for the home of the slain officer, Jack Connolly. The house was on Ralston Avenue, just a few blocks from where Ben lived. We parked the car and started up the front walk. The lights were burning in the living room.
Lousy job.
What?
I said it's a lousy job.
Yeah. Better try it again, huh?
I heard it. Somebody's coming.
Oh.
Hi, Joe, Ben.
Oh, Betty.
Hi, Betty.
I'm sure glad you can make it. Everybody's here. Come in, come in.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for that wandering husband of mine. If he's not here by midnight, he's going to be in the doghouse for sure. Here, let me take your coat.
No, Betty, that's all right. I wonder if we could go back into the kitchen. We'd like to talk to you.
Matter, can't you stay long?
Well, no, not too long.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, come on back in the kitchen and I'll get you something. Maybe you can drop back later on. Jack should be here by then. He'd better be. Come on in. Either one of you seen Jack?
That's what we wanted to talk to you about, Betty.
What?
You want to sit down, Betty?
What is it, Joe? Tell me.
Well, he had an accident.
Where is he? I want to go see him. How bad an accident?
Pretty bad.
I want to go see him, Joe. If he's hurt, I want to see him. Couldn't be that bad, could it?
Yeah.
Oh, please, Joe. Please, not dead. Tell me, Joe, please.
I'm sorry, Betty.
Dear God. Oh, God.
Want to give me a hand here, Joe?
Yeah. She's white as a sheet.
Be worse when she comes through. We better get a hold of the family doctor.
No, we're going to have to wait. We'll never get through now.
Huh?
Phone lines are probably jammed. It's midnight.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year.
12:30 a.m. We finally got a hold of the Conley's family doctor, and he told us that he'd be over as quickly as possible. Some of Betty Conley's relatives at the party said that they'd look after things until the doctor arrived. Ben and I left the house and drove back to the scene of the murder. The house-to-house check of the entire area was still going on. There was no trace of the killer. 1:30 a.m. A low fog moved in over the city. Traffic began to thin out a little. The street crowds disappeared. 2 a.m. The search went on. A little before 2:30, a patrolman on foot located a taxicab driver in the neighborhood who claimed that he'd seen a man answering the killer's description just after the shooting. Ben and I went down the street to talk to the driver. He sat behind the wheel of his cab. It was especially equipped with shortwave radio to handle calls directly from the taxi company's dispatch office.
Glad to pass it on for whatever it's worth, officer. It happened just a minute or two before I picked up my last fare.
What time was that? Do you remember?
Oh, remembering, too, and I got it right here on the waybill. Yeah, here we go. 9:48 p.m. I was parked just where I am now. Same old stand. I picked up a fare, drove them to North Main and Sotelo, and I came back here. My cab broke down. Lousy distributor. I've been waiting for the repair truck ever since.
Well, just what was it that happened before you picked up that fare here? That was at 9:48, is that right?
Yeah, 9:48, yeah. Well, I was going to say, it was just a minute or two before that. I was parked right here. This guy comes running down the street through the crowd. He was really running, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's almost past me when he stopped all of a sudden, turned around and looked at me. I thought he wanted a cab, so I opened the door for him. He just looked at me and said, "Never mind," or something like that, and then he took off down the street. Maybe he was just a little goofed up, I don't know.
Can you remember what he looked like?
Oh, about your build, I guess. Medium. He had a hat on, dark hat, dark suit.
Did you get a look at his face?
Yeah, he's about 28 or 30, dark complexion.
Anything else you remember about him?
No, not for sure. He looked like 100 other mooches down around this neighborhood. Just listen to those calls come in, huh? New Year's Eve, and I draw a lame cab.
Well, there's nothing else that you remember about this man that you think might help us, huh?
No, you got it all, Sergeant. Just acted a little queer, that's all. Goofed up, probably.
Did you see which way he went when he took off?
Right down the street. That way.
Mm-hmm.
Lost himself in the crowd. I couldn't be bothered.
Mm-hmm. How about when he came running down the street towards you? Did you happen to notice where he was coming from?
Matter of fact, yeah, that was just after I heard those gunshots. Of course, I didn't know there were gunshots then.
Yeah.
Looked to me like he came out of that joint up there, right near where the cop was shot.
Which joint was that?
The 228, that bar up there.
Well, it wasn't much, but it was the only lead we had to go on. 7 persons in the vicinity at the time of the shooting had volunteered the information that the killer had been a recent customer at the 228 Club, the neighborhood tavern. The owner and bartender of the club, Ralph Stevens, had been questioned twice that night by different officers, and he twice denied that there was any possibility that the killer could have been a patron at his bar. Stevens' denial didn't make any more sense than the killing itself. We made arrangements to have the cab driver we interviewed come down to the city hall to check through our mug books for the suspect. By 10 a.m. the next morning, the body of the slain homicide officer, Jack Conley, had been posted. 4 bullets were taken from his back, 2 from the base of his skull. Russ Camp ran the slugs through ballistics, where they were identified as having been fired from a .38 caliber Colt Special revolver. 11 a.m. We drove back to the 228 Club, where we talked to some of the customers who'd been there the night before. 3 of them told us that they'd seen a man answering the general description of the killer in the bar shortly before the shooting. Ben and I went back to the stockroom at the rear of the bar and talked to the owner, Ralph Stevens.
Look, how long does this thing have to go on anyway? I told you everything I knew last night.
We know that, Stephen. Doesn't seem to jibe with what the rest of the witnesses saw, though.
Then maybe you better take it up with them. I don't know anything about it. I got work to do, and you're in my way there.
Excuse me.
How come you're so sure that the man we want wasn't in your place last night?
I'm not on trial here. You asked me what I know, and I told you. If you don't mind, I got work to do. You mind moving over there?
All right, we'd appreciate it if you'd cooperate.
All right, if you want to know the truth, you're not good for my business here. Cops never are. Coming around asking questions, customers don't like it. It's no good for business, no good at all.
A cop was killed last night right outside your front door. Now, half a dozen people say that the guy who did it was in here drinking.
I run this place. It's mine. I say the man wasn't in here.
Still like to know how you're so sure.
I'm getting a little tired of this. I don't have an office down at the City Hall to lounge around in. I got work to do. How about leaving, huh?
You want to get your coat? We can talk to you downtown. Come on.
Not before I call my lawyer.
Go ahead and call him. Where's your coat?
Why do we have to have trouble? I haven't got any beefs with you.
No trouble, Stevens. We have to get to the bottom of it, that's all. Like to have you cooperate.
Maybe the guy was in here last night. He came in a couple of times, that's all. I didn't want it to get out. Bad for business, those things. Can't afford it. Keeps customers away.
Then the man was in here last night, is that right?
I wasn't trying to cover it for him. I hardly know him. I just didn't want it to get out. I got a right to protect my business.
Who is the man?
Harry Talmadge. He's a hophead. If he did it, it probably wasn't his fault.
How do you mean?
He was hyped up last night, uses heroin. He probably didn't mean to shoot.
Where do we find him?
I wouldn't know if this is right. Old address.
What is it?
Fairview Hotel. Try there.
11:35 a.m., New Year's Day. We got in touch with Barney Luchek and Tom Bryan from Homicide, and they drove downtown to check at the Fairview Hotel for the suspect. Ben and I finished questioning the owner of the 228 Club, and we went back to the office. 11:58 a.m., Barney Luchek and Bryan got back.
Barney, what have you got?
Fairview Hotel in South Grand. Was that the one?
Yeah. Did you find it okay?
Yeah, I talked to the desk clerk.
Talmadge registered there?
Yeah, he was. Checked out 2 months ago. No leads.
You are listening to Dragnet, a series of authentic case histories documented from official files.
1 p.m. New Year's Day. After we found that the suspect, Harry Talmadge, had checked out of the Fairview Hotel months before, Ben and I went back to the office and ran his name through R&I. The information given us by Ralph Stevens, the owner of the 228 Club, was apparently correct. The record on Talmadge showed that he was a confirmed user of narcotics. He served 2 brief terms for illegal possession of narcotics and another short term in the county jail for petty theft. We got out a broadcast and an APB on Talmadge. We checked out all his known friends and relatives, the places that he frequented, hotels, boarding houses that he'd stayed at. No leads. With the help of Lieutenant Walters and narcotics detail, we finally found the trail most likely to lead us to the suspect. The peddlers who were suspected of supplying Talmadge with narcotics. They were kept under 24-hour watch. 3 days passed. No results. January 4th, 9 a.m. Ben and I went to the funeral and burial services for the murdered officer, Jack Conley. 11 a.m. We got back to the office.
Don't know why, Joe. I just don't cotton to funerals. Not a cop's funeral, anyway.
Well, I don't blame you. His wife looked a lot better, didn't she?
Yeah, she'll be bearing up good, considering.
Well, Joe?
Hi, Barney.
What do you say, Barney?
Yeah, a young fella you told me about. He phoned you, Ben.
Oh, is that right? Did you give him the information?
Yeah, he wanted to know all about taking the police department examination.
Now, who's that?
One of my neighbor boys, a nice kid. Wants to get on the force.
I told him to apply at room 5, City Hall, any weekday. You can make his application then. That it?
Fine, Barney, thanks.
Well, they got the recruiting campaign going now?
Yeah, all this month. Taking applications from all over the country.
I'll get it. Homicide, Friday. Oh, yeah, Walters. Just a minute. Okay. ALDSON, Donaldson. Okay, fine. Thanks a lot. Lou Walters and narcotics might be something.
What's that?
Oh? Well, he got a line on one of the mules who used to push heroin to town. He's a guy by the name of Donaldson. He's been sounded out. He's ready to talk to us.
This Donaldson was close to Talmadge?
Well, supposedly, yeah.
You know where Talmadge is?
Well, let's ask him. Ben and I left the office and drove to the address on South Alameda where Donaldson, a friend of the murder suspect, was supposed to be staying. Turned out to be a cheap hotel in the Skid Row district. It was next to one of the rescue missions down there. We finally located Donaldson across the street. He was standing on the sidewalk along with 4 or 5 other men. They were listening to a small Salvation Army band playing outside one of the beer joints.
I hardly miss any of these sidewalk meetings, Sergeant. Like 'em. Band music. I even listen to the sermons. Do me a lot of good.
I understand you're not pushing junk anymore, Donaldson. Is that right?
And you want to call me Big, Sergeant? Name's really John, but everybody calls me Big.
All right.
No, I haven't been pushing junk. Not for months. All through with it.
Well, when's the last time that you saw Harry Talmadge?
A couple of weeks ago. I'm not much for Harry anymore. Like I say, I've been regular at these sidewalk meetings, hearing the sermons. Changes the way a fella does things, you know.
Yeah.
A man's got to turn good sometime during his life. Not getting any younger. 58. I figure it's time I start living by the word. Say, that's nice music, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have any idea where we might find Talmadge now?
I might have a few ideas on it. I don't know. Say, I guess neither one of you fellas use snuff.
No.
Don't bother you, does it?
No, go right ahead.
That's all right.
I know the last boarding house Harry stayed at, if that'll help any. Place on 12th Street. I can give you the address.
Well, is he still there, do you know?
I don't think he is, no. Matter of fact, I'm sure he's not. Wish Harry'd come around and see me. Like to get him interested in these sidewalk meetings. Get him listening to the sermons. Might help him. Did an awful lot for me.
Yes, sir. Will you say that you saw Talmadge about 2 weeks ago?
Well, not quite 2 weeks ago. It was the day after Christmas. Came down to my hotel and wanted some money. I couldn't give him any. That's when he told me he was moving. Going to some rooming house up around the City Hall section up there.
Did he mention any address?
Not that I recollect, no. That sure is nice music, isn't it?
Well, how about some of his other friends, Biggs? You think they might be able to help us?
Well, Duke might help you. Harry and old Duke are still great friends. Duke sees him more than I do.
Where do we find Duke?
Well, you know the Penny Arcade down in South Main? Right down from the train depot there?
Yeah.
That's where Duke works. He's a janitor there. I've been trying to get Duke to come to the sidewalk meetings, too. He sure could stand it, old Duke.
Well, thanks very much, Biggs.
Not at all, Sergeant. Always glad to help out. Now, look at that now. All out of snuff. Say you couldn't see your way clear, could you?
There you go, Biggs.
That's sure Christian of you, Sergeant. I'll handle this just like a personal loan.
That's all right, Biggs. Don't say anything about us talking to you, though, huh? Not to anyone.
No, sir, I won't. You can trust me. Say, when you see Harry, give him a message, huh?
Well, what's that?
You tell him to come and see me. I want him to show up at these meetings, hear the sermons. It could change everything, Sergeant. It could give him a new life, new soul. Brand new soul for Harry. Think of that.
Yeah, he could use one. 3 p.m. Tuesday, January 4th. We drove down to the Penny Arcade on South Main. Harry Talmadge's friend, Duke, wasn't there. The manager of the place gave us his home address, and we checked it out. Duke wasn't there either. We staked out at the place for the rest of the afternoon. Duke failed to show. At 6 o'clock that night, Barney Luchek and Brian from Homicide came out and relieved us. Ben and I had dinner at Johnny Cokin's, and then we went back to the office. 7:20 p.m.
Want to grab that, Joe?
Yeah, I got it. Homicide, Friday.
This is Luchek, Joe.
Oh, yeah, Barney.
Talmadge's friend just showed up here. We're talking to him now.
Will he tell you anything?
Yeah, you got a pencil. You better write this down.
All right, wait a minute. Just a second. All right, go ahead.
1727 West Hoover, apartment 3.
It was 1727 West Hoover, is that right?
Yeah.
Apartment 3? Well, what's the pitch?
Harry Talmadge. Duke says he's there now.
All right, Barney, thanks. Bye.
Luchek?
Yeah.
What's he got?
Harry Talmadge. Supposed to be at this address. Ben and I got in the car and drove out to the West Hoover Street address where we met Luchek and Brian. 1727 was a small 2-story apartment house, Spanish stucco in style. Apartment 3 was at the rear of the first floor. All right, Luchek, you want to pick up Brian and you cover the back. Huh?
Right, Joe.
Come on, Ben. Let's go. Huh? Get us up the stairs, huh?
3.
Okay. I'll cover you.
No sound inside. Door's open.
Well, let's have a look.
No, it's empty.
You want to try the bedroom? I'll check the kitchen.
Joe, in here. All right, Tommy. What's the gun? Got a gun, Joe. Grab it. All right. You're a cop. All right, come on, drop it. Drop it.
My arm. I got it, Joe.
All right, come on your feet. All right, get him in backing. All right. Come on, hold still.
38 revolver, Joe. Colt Special.
All right, how about it, Talmadge?
It's mine. What of it?
Where's your coat?
I don't know.
Why'd you kill him?
Because I wanted to, that's all. He was a cop.
Is that your only reason?
I told you he was a cop. What's the difference?
There's a big difference, mister.
Why? I killed him. It's just one cop less. What's the difference?
Ask his family. They'll tell you.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 26th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Harold Wesley Talmadge was found guilty of manslaughter by jury trial and was sentenced to the state penitentiary. He was paroled after serving 6 years in prison. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A man is pulled from his car on a deserted street. He's robbed, beaten viciously. His car is stolen. The criminal makes good his escape. Your job, find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, July 9th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:55 a.m. when we got to the Stacy Hollywood department store. Personnel department.
Stacy Hollywood. That would be the yardage department. Yes, ma'am, I'll connect you. Yes, sir, can I help you?
Police officer.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak to one of your employees, Harvey Kimbrough.
Just a moment, I'll page him for you.
You got a match?
Yeah. Here you are.
Thank you.
When I was a kid, I never could figure out what that was.
What's that?
The auto call system. To call employees to the phone. Rings all over the store, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Office? Yes, Mr. Kimbrough, there are 2 policemen waiting to see you on the 10th floor. All right. That was Mr. Kimbrough. He's on his way up.
Thank you very much.
Did I give you the crime report on this thing?
No, I think you kept it, didn't you?
Let's see.
Stacy Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here it is.
Just a moment,
Oh,
Officer.
say. Oh, wasn't he?
What do you got there?
They call them Pepto Pals. They're good. Try one.
Well, what are they for?
They coat the stomach. For stomach aches, you know, good.
Well, I haven't got a stomachache.
Oh.
These gentlemen here, Stella?
Yes, that's right.
Are you Harvey Kimbrough?
Yes, sir, that's right. I sure appreciate you people coming over here. I don't like to take time off from work. It makes it tough on my partners, Clive and Warren.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Janitor working a big store like this keeps you hopping.
Beauty salon.
You haven't got any idea who the hold-up men are yet, have you?
No, sir, we haven't. We'd like to get a little more information on what happened.
Did you talk to the two officers in the police car?
Well, yes, we did, but it's customary for us to make a follow-up for any additional information.
You fellas are plain clothesmen, is it?
Yeah, we're from Central Robbery.
Oh, I see. Well, I never knew I'd get this much service.
Yes, sir. Wonder if we might step outside the office here. I don't imagine you want to discuss your personal business here in the office.
That's very considerate of you. Thank you.
Fine. Go ahead.
Wonder if you'd mind going over it again for us, Mr. Kimbrough. Maybe something you didn't think of when the other officers talked to you?
I believe I told them everything. I was on my way into work this morning about 5 a.m.
You live out in Alhambra?
Yes, sir, that's right. I take the freeway in.
It was on Commercial Street that you were held up?
That's right, Commercial, right near Alameda, almost to the corner. Where they're tearing those buildings down. Man flagged me down. Looked like his car was stalled.
Yes, sir.
Always make it a habit to stop when I see somebody in trouble. I know how it is that time of the morning. No gas stations open. Figured maybe the fellow needed a shove or something.
So you stopped to give him a hand, is that right?
That's what I had in mind. I'd no more than stop the car. And he came over, he pointed a gun at me and told me to get out.
What'd you do?
Well, I asked the fellow what he want. I told him I didn't have any money. Told him I was on my way into work.
What'd he say to that?
Didn't say anything. He just opened the car door, grabbed me by the arm, and pulled me out. I wasn't prepared for it, and I kind of fell out onto the street.
Yeah.
I still didn't know what he was after. Thought at first he might have been crazy. He was going to kill me.
Well, why'd you think he was going to kill you? Did he threaten you? Or?
No, but the gun and all, and the way he pulled me out of the car, I just couldn't make it out.
I see. Would you go on, please?
Well, he took my wallet from me. All the money I had, $14. And then he said, don't bother to get up and stay right there for 5 minutes after I leave. And then he bent down and he hit me in the face.
What'd he hit you with?
With his fist. Hit me right here in the mouth. You can see the cut right inside my lip here.
Yeah.
See, it bled pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's a nasty cut.
Oh, it's better now. The men who came in the ambulance, they put something on it. It'll be all right.
Well, did he knock you out when he hit you?
No, I saw him get into my car, and then the car parked up ahead took off, and this man who held me up, he followed my car.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have anything more on the description of the hold-up man or his car?
No, I think I told the other officers everything I could remember.
Would you recognize the man if you saw him again, Mr. Kimbrough?
Yes, sir, I think I would.
Well, your car is a blue 1948 Dodge sedan, right rear fender damage. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Any other identifying marks at all?
No, sir, that's about the size of it.
And the other car looked to you like a late model Chevrolet, is that right?
49 or 50 anyway, two-tone green.
Yes, sir, that's what we have.
Did you see the license number on that?
No, sir, I didn't.
This witness who's listed here, Mr. Sidney Ferguson?
That was the fellow that stopped and picked me up, brought me into work. Did you talk to him yet? He might be able to help.
Well, we're going to see him as soon as we leave you. 800 block on Satakoy.
Yes, sir, that's right. Sure hope you get that thief. My car, too. Awful hard to get around Los Angeles without a car.
We'll do our best.
I was just wondering, Mr. Kimbrough.
Yes, sir, what's that?
Well, you say that when the man hit you, he didn't knock you out. You weren't unconscious?
No, sir, I was not.
Well, did you try to locate a phone, call for help?
I didn't have to. This Mr. Ferguson pulled up and stopped right away, and then the officers came. Besides, I figured I'd better do what I was told.
How's that?
I was afraid. I was going to wait 5 minutes.
Ben and I left the department store, picked up our car in the parking lot next door, and drove out to the San Fernando Valley, the 800 block on Satakoy Avenue. Citizen's home was the one farmhouse.
Round back! Through the gate there, down the driveway.
This way, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Hi there. This is the Ferguson house.
Yes, sir. We're looking for Sidney Ferguson.
Surely, I'm Sidney Ferguson.
Police officers, Mr. Ferguson.
About that holdup this morning down on Commercial Street.
Yes, sir, that's right. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
Happy New Year. Excuse my wet hand. Been cleaning out my tanks.
Yes, sir.
You fellas work out at City Hall?
Yes, we do.
Wouldn't happen to know a John O'Grady down there. Narcotics Division. Went to Highland.
No, I don't believe I know him. Ben?
O'Grady?
Yeah.
Tall fella, kind of blonde, wavy hair?
Yeah, that's right. Good-looking fella.
Yeah, I think I've seen him around.
Good friend of mine. Wasn't that a shame this morning, that Kimbrough guy?
Yeah, it was a rough one. The reason we came out to see is that we thought that maybe you could give us some additional information on it.
Glad to give you all the help I can. I'd like to see you get that hold-up, man.
Mind giving us a rundown on what happened this morning?
Not at all. It's around 5 o'clock this morning. I'm not usually up that time in the morning, but I was on my way back from Monterey Park. Generally try to make it down there at least once or twice a month. Go down to see Jack Robinson, an aquarist friend I have down there. We swap fish.
Yes, sir.
I was on my way back, coming down Commercial Street, when I saw this man sitting on the side of the curb. Looked like he was hurt to me.
I see.
Wouldn't have noticed it, probably. It was pretty dark, but those 2 cars pulled out, one right after the other. Seemed to be in a big hurry.
You pulled up to give Kimbrough a hand?
Yes, I did. Of course, when I got close enough, I could see the guy had been kicked in the teeth. Bleeding pretty bad. Offered to take him to the hospital, but he said he didn't want to be late for work.
Mm-hmm.
After the officers came and talked to him and the ambulance men treated him, I drove him up to Stacy's Hollywood, dropped him off there. That's where he works, you know.
Yeah. Well, the report says here that you got the license number of the getaway car, but you couldn't find the paper that you'd written it on when the officers interviewed you, then?
Yes, I did, and that doesn't beat them all.
What's that?
Well, I had the piece of paper a few minutes before the officers got there. Guess I was more rattled than the Kimbrough fella. When I got home here this morning, there was a slip of paper right on the floor of my car. A little bit of a break, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. I wonder if we could have it.
You bet you can. Let's step inside.
Fine, thank you.
Don't mind the fish, officers. It's my hobby, tropical fish.
Oh, sure got a lot of them.
Yeah. Let's see. Now, where did I put that piece of paper? I really wrote it down, believe me. I just misplaced it someplace here. I'm trying to get rid of some of the algae off the glass of the tanks.
Joe, look at these. You ever seen anything prettier in your life?
Yeah.
Those are what they call clownfish, saltwater fish.
Mm-hmm. Do you keep all tropical fish in salt water?
Oh, no. Most of them are freshwater. That is, ones that breed good in captivity.
Where do you get all these fish? You catch them?
Oh, no. A place called Aquarium Stock Company out on Beverly.
Uh-huh. Look there, Joe. Down the corner. See him over there?
Yeah.
That's a seahorse, Joe.
Yeah, that's right. They're also kept in salt water.
Sure is interesting, huh, Joe?
Yeah.
How'd you fellas really like to see something you haven't seen before?
What's that?
Look in this tank here. Hoplochromos multicolor. That's a scientific name, commonly known as the Egyptian mouth breeder.
Is that a fact?
It's a little female there. She's one of the most sacrificing mothers in aquarium history. One of the strangest, too.
How's that?
Well, she lays her eggs in a small depression in the sand down there at the bottom of the tank.
Well, how many eggs would that be?
Usually 80 to 90. Now, here's the strange part. As the eggs are fertilized, she scoops them up in her mouth.
She eats them?
Oh, no. They remain in her mouth while they hatch.
Well, how long does that take?
Over 14 days.
Well, how does she eat?
That's just it. She doesn't. She doesn't touch food in any form for this 2-week period. Seems to just waste away.
And what happens then?
Finally, the eggs hatch after 14 days, and the little fry comes swimming out of the mother's mouth.
Yeah.
And while the fry are growing up, first, you can hardly see them. They're so tiny. While they're growing up, if anything frightens them, quick as a flash, they're back in the mother's mouth.
Well, that's certainly amazing. Joe?
Yeah.
Hoplochromos multicolor, commonly known as the Egyptian mouth breeder.
Is that as big as they ever get?
Yes, sir. 1 inch to 1.5 inches.
It's hard to believe.
The bedders are almost as strange. The male builds a bubble nest on the surface of the water. That's these in this tank. Oh, here's that paper.
Hmm?
The one I wrote the license number on.
Oh, that's fine. I wonder if I could see that, please.
Here you are.
Thank you.
You pretty sure of this number, Mr. Ferguson?
Yes, I am. I got a good look at it.
Well, thank you much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Not at all. Wish you could come over and spend a little time. You seem kind of interested in tropical fish.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll do that sometime.
Bye.
Bye, sir. Thanks very much. That's a good break if this license number checks out, huh?
Yeah. That Ferguson's a nice fella.
Yeah.
Say, Sergeant Romero.
Yes, sir?
You almost forgot. I meant to ask you.
What's that?
About 5 weeks from now.
Yeah?
How'd you like a nice pair of baby Egyptian mouth breeders?
"10:45 a.m. Ben and I got in the car and headed back toward town. I called communications and had them check the license number Ferguson gave us through DMV. They called back and told us that the car was a 1949 Chevrolet 4-door sedan. The registered owner was a Jack B. Grant, 19112 Beacon Street. It was in the southwest part of Los Angeles. It was a large, old-fashioned residence that had been converted into a rooming house. We checked with the landlady, a Mrs. Ida Fisher.
He's been with me here about 8 months.
What time did you say Grant left this morning, Miss Fisher?
Well, it was pretty early.
Must have been around 4 a.m. when I heard him go out. He came back in again about 8 o'clock this morning. Parked his car, and then he drove off with some other man.
Would you happen to know the other man?
No, I wouldn't. I just saw him drive off.
Where does Grant park his car, ma'am?
Around back in the garage.
What if you'd mind if we take a look?
I know, that's all right. You just go right around the back there down the drive.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Now, there's 2 cars parked in there. The black Ford belongs to Mr. Spencer.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And the 19 and 49 Chevrolet, that's Mr. Grant's.
We checked the car and the license number. It matched the description given us by the victim, Harvey Kimbrough, and the witness, Sidney Ferguson. Together with Mrs. Fisher, we checked Jack Grant's room. We found nothing of importance. His clothing and personal effects were all there, nothing to indicate that he wouldn't be back. We told the lady that we're placing the house under surveillance, and if Grant should return, not to say that we'd been there. She agreed and offered further assistance. She said she'd signal us by raising and lowering her front window curtain when Grant returned. We parked down the street, called the office, and advised them we were on stakeout. 2 men were sent out, and they covered the back entrance. Ben and I covered the front. By 6 o'clock that night, Grant had failed to show. 9 p.m., still nothing. 11 p.m.
What time did they say that relief team was coming out?
Around 11 sometime.
Chandler and Ricketts, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, I sure am stiff. Feels like needles all over my body. Been about 12 hours, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Just like driving up to San Francisco. Wife always makes me drive all the way. When I climb out of that car, I'm as stiff as a board.
Car pulling up down the street there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's Ricketts.
Hi, Jack.
Friday? Who's that you got with you?
Same guy that bought you your lunch yesterday.
Stop bragging. That's the house right up there, huh?
Yeah, that's right, the green and white one there.
No sign of them at all, huh?
No, nothing.
Well, you guys want to take off?
Yeah, I guess you can make out Ricketts. You got Chandler with you.
I feel sorry for you, Friday, drawing this guy for a partner.
Well, after 7 years, he kind of grows on you. I'd like to check out the landlady before we take off. Her name's Ida Fisher, Jack.
Right, Joe.
Let's go, Jim.
Yeah.
See you later, Jack. Say hello to Chandler.
Right, Ben.
That Ricketts. Sure is a ribs taker.
Yeah.
Front room lights are still on. Guess she's sweating it out with it.
Yes? Who's it?
Police officers, Miss Fisher.
Who?
Sergeant Friday.
Oh, yes.
Sorry to bother you again,
Well,
ma'am.
that's all right. I just couldn't see who it was, and the porch lights burned out.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Grant?
I want to light up his room.
I don't see why he hasn't come in.
Look out, Mom!
Mr. Grant, forward! Mr. Grant!
Ricketts, it's Grant! Out back!
All right?
Son, he made me hide him.
Lady, will you call an ambulance? Hurry. Joe.
He's not dead, is he?
Lady, get the ambulance, please. Monday, July 9th, 11:28 p.m. The ambulance arrived and Joe was taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. His condition was critical. Despite the fact that the other men on stakeout at the house had closed in as quickly as possible, Jack Grant somehow succeeded in jumping out a side window and making good his escape through a maze of neighboring backyards. The men at the scene began a search of the immediate area. I called in and communications got out a broadcast on an APB. A special detail of men and cruiser cars was rushed to the scene and a blockade thrown up around the area. I stayed on and worked with Ricketts and Chandler. Under questioning, the landlady, Mrs. Fisher, broke down and admitted that Grant had given her $10 to keep his presence in the house a secret. He told us that when we'd searched the suspect's room earlier, he had hidden in the cellar. She was taken into custody. 1:30 a.m. I got a relief and I went downtown to the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. P&F ward.
We removed one slug from the upper thoracic region, another one from his right shoulder. Looked like they could have been .38 caliber. They've been marked for evidence.
How's he doing?
As well as can be expected.
What does that mean?
It's hard to tell. Depends on how it goes the next 4 hours.
Can I go see him?
No, we're not admitting anyone in there. They're under sedatives, lost quite a lot of blood. It's pretty weak.
You need anybody for transfusions?
No, it's all taken care of. His relatives been notified?
Yes, sir. Just his mother. She's visiting relatives up in Renton, Washington. I sent them a wire. They'll break the news to her.
Yeah, that's about all we can do for now.
Oh, I wonder if I couldn't sneak in and leave this carton of cigarettes for him.
I'm afraid it's going to be some time before Sergeant Friday can use them. Just leave them. I'll have the nurse take care of it.
All right, Doctor. Thank you. Is there anything I can get for him? Anything he needs?
No. We're doing everything we can for him.
You don't think I could just look in for a minute?
No, I'm sorry.
Must be something I can do.
You got a good prayer handy?
2 a.m. I left Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and drove back to the scene of the shooting. The search for the suspect, Jack Grant, was still going on. The neighborhood was checked and rechecked. Everything possible was done to find the man who had shot down Sergeant Joe Friday. It's been said that a police department goes all out, doubles its efforts to run down a criminal who attacks a police officer. It's true, but most people aren't aware of the reason. Certain elements you to believe that the police officer places the safety of his fellow officers above that of the citizen. This isn't true. His first day at the academy, the cadet peace officer is taught this basic fact. If a criminal would shoot down the armed police officer, he wouldn't hesitate to shoot down the unarmed citizen. 3 a.m. I finally located Lieutenant Jack Ricketts at the corner of Coronado and Beacon Street, 7 blocks from the scene of the shooting.
How is he?
Not too good. Depends on the next 4 hours.
What are his chances?
I didn't ask.
Well, we're not getting any place here.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
Something's got to break.
Chandler's still downtown. They're combing through Grant's package down at the I Bureau.
They come up with anything?
Not the last time I checked. About 40 minutes ago.
Got any ideas?
Fresh out. You?
Couldn't have gotten far. Not this soon he couldn't.
Bus depots, train terminals, and airports are all covered. Highway patrol's been alerted. Nothing so far.
He's someplace close. He's got to be.
I think he's holed up in town, too, but where?
Yeah?
He's in a jam. He's had good publicity. A lot of his friends are going to hide the welcome mat.
Maybe that narrows it down a little.
Maybe.
Let's find him. 3:30 a.m. Jack Ricketts and I got back to the city hall. We went directly to the I Bureau. Chandler and Powers had sifted through Jack Grant's package. They'd drawn up a list of all Grant's known friends and associates. There were 22 names on the list. 3 of them were in San Quentin Penitentiary. 2 of them were doing time at the county work for him. That left 17 names on the list. Further checking showed that 5 of them had out-of-state addresses. 12 names. The list was split down the middle. Ricketts and I took 6 names, Chandler and Powers 6. Of the 12, with the exception of 1, all names had appeared in police blotter in the past 8 years. Raymond Weller, Peter Denton, Horace Phillips, Henry Breen. Ricketts and I checked them. Some were in bed, some hadn't been to bed. We were reasonably sure none of them knew the whereabouts of the suspect. I called Georgia Street to find out about Joe. They told me no change in his condition. 4:55 a.m.
After this one, we get a quick bite to eat, huh? You don't look so good.
I'm not hungry. What's this one's name?
Anthony Baxter, room 23.
This is it.
Yeah.
Anthony Baxter?
Yeah.
Police officers, we want to talk to you.
It's a fine hour to get a guy out of bed. You always sleep with your clothes on? Let's step back there in the room.
Hey, what's going on?
You a friend of Jack Grant's?
Why?
Do you know Jack Grant?
Why?
Jack Grant's a friend of yours?
I'm not going to tell you anything till I know why.
You want to talk here or downtown?
I got a right to know what it's all about.
Get your hat and coat.
You just want to know if I know Jackie Grant, is that all?
You want to get that coat and hat?
I know Grant.
Where is he?
I don't want to get mixed up in anything.
You're mixed up in it already. You know him.
You know, that's the trouble with you guys. Guy tries to walk the straight and narrow, and you guys come around and try and push him into a corner.
Where's Grant?
Look, I've been in jail, and I did my time. You haven't got anything on me.
Baxter, let's get this straight. We're not after you. We're after Grant. We didn't come here to push you around. We don't want you to push us around. And where is he?
I'm going to tell you something. I don't like being talked to this way, and I'm not going to stand for it. I got certain rights, and I'm going to stand on them.
No, you listen to me. A friend of mine's lying in the hospital because of your pal Jack Grant. He put 2 bullets in him. Now I'm tired, and I'm out of since worse. Where is he?
All right, Ben. It's all right. It's the last time around, Baxter. Tell us where Grant is or we go downtown. Come on, quick.
Hotel Filbert, room 605.
5:27 a.m. We located the Filbert Hotel on North Crocker Street. On the way over, we called in and told them what we'd found. Chandler and Powers met us outside the hotel. They took up their position. Ricketts and I checked with the desk clerk and confirmed that the suspect was in room 605. He was registered under an alias. We took the elevator to the 6th floor. Room 605 is directly across from the elevator.
What is it?
Police officer.
Watch your pants.
Now keep your hand out of that pocket, Grant. I wouldn't want to shoot you. 5:42 a.m. Ricketts and Chandler took the suspect into custody. It was 6:03 a.m. when I got to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, P&F ward.
Sergeant?
How is he?
You can go in. Don't stay too long.
Thanks. Hi, Joe.
Hi. You look tired.
How you feeling?
Oh, I'll do. How'd it go?
We got Grant.
You look tired. You been working straight through on it?
Yeah. Anything I can get you?
No. Guess I better hurry up and get out of here, huh?
Why?
Well, we still got that stolen car to find.
Story you just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 7th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Jack Grant was tried and convicted on 1 count of assault to commit murder. He and his accomplice were convicted on several counts of first-degree robbery. Assault to commit murder is punishable by imprisonment for from 1 to 14 years. First-degree robbery by imprisonment from 5 years to life. The landlady, Ida Fisher, was placed on probation. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes